Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, the #1 YouTube channel for you to level up your communication skills, learn the art of public speaking, social skills, and personal branding to take your message to the world. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit subscribe right down below for 3 weekly videos on how to become a better communicator. For today's episode, we're delving into all 3 of the worlds of public speaking, social skills, and personal branding, and I'm going to be talking about the art of competing against yourself, not others. Now, at first, this seems very counterintuitive. Our entire lives, we've been programmed to only compete with the external world. Now, Armani, you're saying that I should be competing against myself? I should be redirecting the focus internally? Yes. Now, here's a quick disclaimer. If you're someone who likes competing with other people and it makes you feel alive, it makes you feel fulfilled, then keep doing what you're doing. But if you're another group of people who feel as though, others don't have what I'm looking for, and anytime I'm competing against them, I feel more empty even when I win. If you're one of those kinds of people, then today's video is going to help you. I feel as though the way that our world is progressing, competing against others as the only option is outdated. It's an old routine that needs to be shed if you want to unlock your true potential, your true creativity, and your true communication skills. Today's video is going to help you compete against yourself so you start leveling up like none other. If you're excited to adopt a new mode of thinking, make sure you drop a like right on below, and let's begin. I realized when I didn't want to compete with other people. This was around the time that I was entering Toastmasters. And in Toastmasters, there's a part called Table Topics where you have to give impromptu speeches. When I first got called on stage, I felt terrified. Armani, no way in hell are you going to give a speech without any form of preparation. Well, by the time I get on stage, the Table Topics master is this sweet lady who tells me that I have to create a speech about waffle stompers. In my mind, I'm thinking, what the hell are waffle stompers? But the main purpose is us creating a speech of our perceived definition of the word that we were given. So I have to think fast. I have to think, all right, well, what does waffle stompers mean to me? And as I'm reading this word over and over, I'm formulating a little speech, then boom, go. And I start giving the talk. It's as though there's a different mind that is coming out that's aiding me in giving this talk with little preparation. My analytical mind is turned off, but my intuitive mind is coming out. Overall, I wouldn't say I did a fantastic job. If you're very curious, you could find the speech on my YouTube channel. It's called First Ever Table Topics. But that day, I was given awareness to something. I learned that I can create speeches, I can create talks without planning in detail about it. This was competitive advantage. The next time that I had to give a table topics, I was gonna win, especially with this newfound information. Well, the next week comes on up and the table topics master asks, who wants to volunteer? And boom, my mind is thinking, yes, it is going to be me. My hand shoots up. I get called on stage, and at this point, I'm doing the best that I possibly can in order to win. I want to make sure that I take home one of the ribbons. After I give my speech and multiple other people give their speech as well, around the end of the meeting, guess what happens? I win my first ever ribbon. I was so freaking excited. And at that moment, I not only found out that I can give speeches without thinking about it too much, I also found out that I could win. And this simple idea that I could win and beat others became sort of like a drug. Every single week that I went to Toastmasters following that moment, I kept wanting to win. I kept wanting to compete with other people. And every single time that other people were speaking, in my mind, I was just thinking, how can I beat them? I wasn't appreciating what they were doing. I wasn't appreciating their humor, their speech topics, their thinking on feet skills. But instead, I was just thinking, how am I going to beat you? Well, eventually, I was collecting ribbon on ribbon on ribbon, and I'll be honest, something felt wrong. Despite me overcoming my speech anxiety fears and getting all these ribbons, I didn't feel fulfilled. I felt as though something was missing, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Armani, what's going on? I mean, you're competing against other people and you're getting these ribbons. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, aren't you? But no, I wasn't. I started to realize that I was becoming too dependent on the external world for fulfillment. I was depending too much on other people to motivate myself to get these ribbons. So you know what I decided? I decided that the next week, I wasn't even gonna care about the ribbons. I already had a few, so it made the decision much easier. The next few weeks, I was just going to focus on myself. I was going to focus on making my speech better and better and better for the following weeks. Other people, they cease to exist. And here's the thing, if I won a ribbon, I wasn't gonna give it back, I was gonna accept it. But this time, I felt as though I was going to feel more fulfilled. Well, the next week, I decided that I was going to do this strategy. I ended up doing the strategy. I didn't care what all these other people were doing. Instead, since I wasn't caring so much about beating them, I was evaluating them from a completely different perception. I was starting to notice their humor. I was starting to notice their wittiness. I was starting to notice their ability to think on their feet. Same people, but it's as though I had been given vision to a brand new world. And finally, when I got called on stage, I felt more relaxed. I felt more calm. And this time, my intuitive mind was speaking even louder. That day, I didn't win a ribbon, but that day, I felt more fulfilled. I feel more excited to go on for the next talk and the next talk and the next talk. And eventually it came to a point when I was following this strategy and I ended up getting a ribbon. This is the one that I posted on my wall, and I had a specific date for when I won this particular ribbon. Here's the thing. This ribbon and this ribbon, overall, externally, they seem the same. But this one, the intent that I was operating with versus the intent that I was operating with while getting this one was completely different. This one was very competitive. It was very, it's either you or me. Versus with this one, you know what? It's just me at this point. It's only me that I'm competing against. Which is why this ribbon was so much more fulfilling. This one, here's the thing. You guys may be a little different for your particular creative adventure, but what I began to notice from that day on forward was that true creativity, the ability for content creation, storytelling, is best when you're competing against yourself. Because here's the thing, there's two kinds of energies that humans operate with. There's fear and then there's fun. Fear and fun. When you're trying to have fun, for example, it's best when you're focusing internally. You're focusing on the internal world, which allows you to express a different kind of energy externally. It's as though you're glowing. Versus when you're fearful, you're very focused on the external environment. Who am I going to compete against? Who am I going to beat today? And overall, internally, you feel more restricted. That explained why I wasn't having fun despite collecting the ribbons. The end result looked very fulfilling, but the modes of behavior behind it, I just wasn't having fun. So ever since that day, I made a pact to myself for content creation, for creative endeavors. It's all about competing against myself. It's about making today's video a little bit better than the video beforehand. Because here's the thing, there's a misconception that you have to just kill off your competitive spirit. That's very hard because the ego naturally wants to compete. It's a this or that sort of entity. It's a dualistic entity. So it's very hard to completely kill off. So rather than killing it off, just redirect it towards you. Now you may be thinking, all right, Armani, that works with creative endeavors, but I'm a sports player. It's not gonna work with the sports industry. On the contrary, it can. I mean, think about Steph Curry. Steph Curry has a basketball game that is completely different than anything we've ever seen. I mean, back in the days, who was the best three-point shooter? I would say Ray Allen, Larry Bird. And these guys, when they shot threes, they would shoot a certain amount. It wasn't too much. But then Steph Curry came into the game and he flipped the NBA on its axis. I mean, this guy can shoot threes from 5 foot behind the three-point line. You could tell he's not competing against all these other people. He's competing against himself, and he's breaking barriers. He's changing up the entire NBA. And look at him. He's like a very little dude. He's not like super swole or anything. He's not super tall. He's just a little dude that is changing up the game. He's someone that you gotta fear. Same with Kevin Durant. When you see Kevin Durant, I mean, he's what, 7 foot tall? Most of the times, 7-footers were seen to be people that were just next to the rim that had to just shoot layups the whole time. But Kevin Durant's like, I'm going to compete against myself. I am going to do anything that I want to do, but I'm going to use myself as the measurement. Then he started to shoot threes. He's a 7-footer that is shooting threes with ease. And here's the thing. When you start competing against yourself, you start having a new perception. You start seeing how you can get other people's games that you were initially resenting, and you're finding different ways to get those and implement it into your arsenal. People that I thought were overrated before, eventually I started to see, not really, they're actually very, very creative in their own right. This is a big cheat code in the world of Toastmasters or any other form of content creation. You'll typically realize in Toastmasters, people that do get the ribbons, they're very surprised when they get it. When their name is announced at the end of the meeting, they're always like, me? No way. Wow. And that's when they have true joy versus, dang, I didn't win. So go in with the right intention, but always make sure that you're operating in a way where you're feeling fulfilled, especially with the world of communication skills. It becomes very annoying if you're that person who's always turning every small thing into a competition. That right there is a social sin because your friends can't consider you a friend. It's a friendship when you two are able to be informal around each other. And you could be informal around each other when you can relax. When it's not always a competition like, I could drink water faster than you, I could walk faster than you, I could do this faster than you. That becomes annoying after some time. At first, it's probably fun, but everything is good in doses. When you're overdoing something, it becomes irritating. So overall, change the mindset if you're feeling unfulfilled right now. Stop competing so much against other people. Stop using other people as a crutch to motivate yourself. And instead, redirect that focus back onto yourself and use yourself as that barometer, as the measuring stick. That right there, once you do manifest whatever you're trying to manifest, you're going to feel 10 times better because you'll realize that you did it. Other people weren't forcing you and dragging you to the finish line. You were able to drag yourself. There's no reason to bring a traffic jam into your life. Take everyone out and boom, right there, you are operating in a clear lane. When you compete against others, you get bitter. When you compete with your prior day self, you get better. Adopt a new mentality and change your life forever. Thank you for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you on the next episode.